Okay, what you're about to see is the director's or unrated version of Dawn of the Dead. The movie contains more gore, a little more character. The reason why we had to take some of these scenes out originally was because, for instance, the scenes with the extra zombie scenes or the extra gore scenes, they might have been a little bit too much for the MPAA, and not that those rules are important, because they are, as you know, but in this world, the unrated world, we can do whatever we want. So, hopefully you'll enjoy that. There's also a little bit more character in the movie, a little bit. We get to explore some of the characters in the movie a little more, kind of see where they came from, and get a little bit of a sense of who they are a bit more. And so that's kind of fun too. If you were a fan of the movie in the theater, you'll get a little bit extra there. The movie's a little bit longer, so you have to prepare yourself for that. I hope you're able to enjoy it the way I do, because for me it's a little bit more personal than the movie that you saw in the theater. So, sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy it.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Okay, we're ready.
Here we go. Okay, move!
Go, zombies, rocket!
It's amazing how popular zombies are, amazing how many friends of mine are just so excited about the idea that zombie movies are being made again.
Doing a remake of Dawn of the Dead is a sacrilegious act that I have embraced. I can't apologize for it because we had so much fun doing it, but at the same time, I was aware that I was treading on some hallowed grounds, if you will.
George Romero wrote the book on zombies. He created the modern zombie. If you look at all of his movies in the 60s and 70s, the zombies are very containable. They're not very scary, they don't have superpowers, but we as a society always implode. We give in to fear, we don't work together. That's what's always so terrifying about zombie movies, is our inability to handle the problem.
A number of people over the years have come to me wanting to buy the rights to remake the movie. And I didn't hear anything from anyone that motivated me until Eric Newman called one day and said, "Found you."
In its genre, it's really the best. And we just thought it would be fun to make our version of it. We bought the rights and hired James Gunn to write it.
I had always loved Dawn of the Dead. It was my favorite zombie movie. I'm a huge zombie movie fan.
She's like, I have to do that. I have the poster in my room. I'm looking at it right now. I have to be the guy that writes it.
I think the first Dawn of the Dead was done perfectly. What interested me was making a larger budget zombie movie that had lone survivors alone in a mall. I think you can't come up with a better setting than that, and just doing it in a new way.
The two Dawn of the Deads, they're like night and day. They're very different.
The context was the same, the context of the mall, the consumerism, but it wasn't trying to duplicate the movie identically with the same characters or the same character arcs. And there are similarities, there are parallels, certainly.
The underbelly of what George did originally is present in the remake in terms of I shop, therefore I am. And winding up in a shopping mall at the end of the world where you think to yourself, maybe I've got everything I might need to survive, and then finding out that that's not enough. It has scenes where it pays its respects to the original, but it's another movie.
This movie is definitely a re-envisioning. It's not a remake. We didn't take George's script and shoot it again.
What Zach is trying to do with this is to play it a little closer to the vest and make it more about real people. And what would we do if you woke up and the world went mad?
I really think Zach is a director who says a lot with the camera without dialogue. And anytime I watch a filmmaker and I'm looking at their work, what I do is I turn down the volume on whatever piece I'm watching and see if they tell the story without me hearing dialogue.
We always talked about the reality. It has to be real. It has to be serious. It's not campy.
It has such a different tone. I think in no way does it sort of impede on the territory of the original. I mean, I hope that lets me off the hook a little bit, but I'm sure it doesn't.
The great monsters in terms of movie history, Godzilla, King Kong, They were all sympathetic monsters. They weren't out to really hurt someone because they were mean or evil. They were being provoked, okay? And they were monsters with heart. And I think the zombies are monsters with heart. They found themselves in a situation where this was their new self, okay? And they're acting instinctively. If they didn't have to eat, they wouldn't come after us.
There's something so kind of endearing about them. Like, they have no plan at all. They're just like these creatures of instinct.
The zombie films really work because they confront our fear of death while also giving us a little something to play with at the same time.
Zombies are representative of the herd. You know, the sort of the anti-individual who forms this collective and comes after you and tries to get you to buy into it. You know, they want you to join them. You know, that's sort of a dominant theme in corporate culture.
Do it again, one more time.
Eat our food, wear our clothes, you know, use our stuff. Our heroes, you know, our survivors are sort of the holdouts.
I wrote Dawn of the Dead in an unusual way in that I didn't write a treatment first, so I didn't know what was going to happen. I said, let's take these characters and throw them in this mall and have them try to figure out a way to get out of it, and I would try to figure it out along with them. What about all the different things that run through these people's minds? All the different theories about what's going on. Is this a religious happening? Is this a scientific occurrence? What is this? And how do you explain it to yourself so that your own worldview just doesn't get crushed? Do you believe in God more? Do you not believe in God at all? What do you do in the face of, you know, your family trying to eat you? How do you make sense of that to yourself? I just could have gone on forever. I very rarely slept. I didn't eat. I didn't bathe. I just wrote about these zombies and these people within the mall, and I actually came to really care about some of these characters. I mean, the character of Michael to me is very tragic, and I relate to him. Like, he's a loser. He's finally good at something, and he's good at something that's really just like the worst thing to possibly be good at, which is killing zombies.
Yeah! I thought the script was fantastic. From the point of view of my character, Anna, it's really rare you have a film like this where the female character is anything more than somebody screaming and running away. It's kind of great that she's someone who, despite what she goes through, kind of takes charge a little bit and has a plan and kind of holds her own. And I found it very, very funny, but without being kind of tongue-in-cheek in that sort of ironic way that we've come to know in horror movies recently. It takes itself seriously, and yet it's sort of still fun.
Like, each character is really, really well drawn. There's not one cheesy, cliche character in this film. They've done a really, like, superb job with that.
Dawn of the Dead is about, you know, people trying to survive and in a time of crisis. You know, it's not really about zombies, because you don't really find out what's going on with the zombies. You don't know how they got here. You don't know anything. It's really about the people.
I think they needed to cast actors in this, because so it's not just a quote-unquote horror movie. So it's something where you care about the people in it.
The great blessing I had was that all the actors on the movie, they each had a wealth of experience, not only acting, but also with like life itself. And so they were able to weave that really well.
It seemed like one of those opportunities to go into a movie and actually just sort of play. Dead in the sense that they're not actually dead.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
That's good.
We're staying with the script, obviously, but he's really open to ideas, and everybody's sort of laughing on set. I mean, so far it's had like a great feel.
The actors, we are sort of motley looking crew together, but I think we have a very good chemistry.
We have the best time, man. It's incredible. It's incredible how we all bonded so well, too.
We laugh and joke all day. It's a fun movie. I mean, it is very intense when you see it, but as far as the presence on the set, you know, we just have a good time.
Sarah Polley is a prima donna. No one in the cast seems to like her. I'm going to tell her that now. She's always telling the actors what to do. Look at her.
So relentless, you have no idea.
When we started talking about location for this movie, I mean, obviously the most important piece of the puzzle was the mall.
We had to find an existing mall that was scheduled for demolition and then remodel and transform it for our use.
We looked at a mall in LA, there was a mall in New Zealand, there was a mall in Romania, and there was a mall in Toronto. We went up to Toronto and looked at the mall, and we brought Andrew Nescaramne, our production designer, with us. And he looked around and said, you know what? I could do something really cool with this mall.
Andrew and I, who's the production designer, we sat down and we started talking about like what we wanted the mall to look like. And from the beginning, we wanted it to be slick. We wanted it to be designed to the point where you could feel the design, like the design itself was a character.
We did research not only in North America, but we looked at Japanese malls and malls in England.
What we wanted, ideally, was like real retail stores, so it really felt real. But then when they saw and read our script, they were a little hesitant because they were afraid that we would spray blood all over their logo or do something horrible, which we would have.
That left Andrew with the idea that he had to create a hardware store, Case Hardware. He had to create Reflex Sports. He had to create a jewelry store. He had to create a baby store. He had to create a version of a coffee store. Because people were interacting with them all the time, they couldn't just be a facade. They really were stores. And that was a really big job.
A good majority of our initial build was spent demolishing and tearing everything away right down to the structural steel.
Roots was great. We have a real Roots store in there. And Panasonic, we have a real Panasonic store. They were pretty gutsy, and I thought very smart to do it.
So those two are real, but everything else we had to kind of create around them.
There was no way you wouldn't assume that these were real stores. Case Hardware looks absolutely like, hey, of course there's a Case Hardware. Of course there's a Reflex Sports. It's not even a question.
It's pretty spectacular. I guess they're gonna, burn it down or raise it to the ground. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's a terrible waste, but they're gonna have a hell of a sale at the end of the shoot.
In a movie like this, it's like impossible to have too much gore.
Fire!
We had designed more scenes of gore into the original layout of the movie, but we ended up trying to just go with the moments that are the most sort of impactful.
And it was always like, let's make the movie we want to make, and then, we'll sort of let the MPAA tell us what's too much.
I am a fan of the gore, and I had the gore in great detail in the original script. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it was disgusting.
Most people have like a stopper that helps them to understand like how much is too much, and I think just I wasn't blessed with that. The level of gore you get now is probably based on laws. There's laws that like tell you how much you can have. It's weird. I remember I was having an early conversation with Eric Newman, and Eric said to me like, how do you see the zombies? And I go, well, if they could run, it would change the whole dynamic.
I think that there is something very frightening about the lumbering zombie coming towards you, but there's something much more dangerous about a running zombie coming towards you. So we decided to go with the danger factor as opposed to the imagery factor.
If you don't feel pain, then you don't slow down. If you don't feel pain in your muscles, then you never get tired. You can run forever. You run for 100 miles. You don't care, like till your feet like bleed and fall off. And even then they still try and run. They'd run on the stumps.
My whole approach to the actual look of the zombies was not making anything up. In fact, trying to kind of shake off the traditional zombie looks from my mind and from my crew's mind. And our greatest challenge was to just stick to reality. There's not really zombies walking around, but people die and decay and get disgusting looking, and that's what we used as our reference material. We had forensic books and medical books and all kinds of horrible things out all the time.
If a zombie can make you think that this is a real cadaver, that's a good zombie.
They kept some sort of human element to them. It was almost like the faces of the zombies went through a catastrophe that marred them, but still they're semi-human. When I look at them, I'm shooting an injured human.
For the entire month of August, you had a ton of zombies walking around both sets because we were shooting first unit and second unit, and they were at opposing ends of the clock. I'd say a safe average was probably 250 zombies a day, and all the while we had to maintain our supply of goods for these people to perform these makeups. So we were staying ahead of the schedule by about an hour, right down to the wire. The greatest challenge for me in the makeup that I was most concerned with was the Vivian character in the beginning of the film. It was potentially the one makeup that just could have gone completely wrong. And not necessarily from a makeup standpoint. Technically, I knew we could do it, emotionally and physically, I didn't know if the child that they were going to cast was going to be able to do it. In one of the first production meetings, I gave a little speech and said how concerned I was about this scene and how we shoot this scene and how the girl deals with it. And, you know, everybody just kind of try and follow my lead as I get to know this girl and how she's going to react. And
the great thing about David Anderson, he was sensitive to having the little girl not see herself in the mirror and, like, you know, which is great. I'm like, David, help me, because I've never, like, you know, had a little kid look like this.
This little girl, Hannah, who played the character, was so professional and so thick-skinned. She'd done a couple of roles where she was an alien and she's had prosthetic makeup on before. She and her mother were constantly letting us know that they were okay with it. And right down to the day when she has to go and lunge and bite the neck out of the lead actor.
The thing about the zombie baby was that, you know, a zombie can only do what in a lot of ways, what a human can do, only without the pain. Like, you know, a baby's muscles aren't developed, so it can't really run or bite you or jump or anything. So we were just trying to figure out what could a baby do? What could a zombie baby do?
And I said, well, maybe what we should take the leap of faith with is the eyes. When the baby opens its eyes, what we should do is create a set of glass eyes that will shoot against green screen, and you can lay them in there instead of trying to put contacts in a baby or do anything like that. Just leave the baby alone. As we got closer and closer to the scene, it became more obvious that we had to do a little bit of makeup to the baby. So we started experimenting with some products, just baby food and yogurt and strawberry jam, and talked to the mother of the child that was actually cast and made sure that there were no allergies to any of these food products. And the entire makeup was done with food, and baby loved it.
We were very determined to use as little CGI as possible. Not because you can't do incredible things with CGI, but we really believe that to maintain the integrity of the film, we used it only when we had to.
Thank you very much. No more questions. Thank you, no more questions. Ah!
For me, it was about, from the beginning, just using the effects to just heighten our world, make it more real. What I didn't want to do from the beginning is have like a CG zombie, you know, because we felt like that was not really true to the genre. Like, I always saw it as a makeup effects movie from the beginning. I always saw it as a movie where when you saw a zombie, he was a guy.
You know, we did some bullet hits and stuff like that, CG, that we couldn't do practically, and a lot of crowd duplication, you know, and it's the only way you can turn 300 zombies into 10,000.
Audiences are really sophisticated now. When you see a CG image, you know what it is, even though you accept it. You embrace it so the story can continue, but I think audiences now are sophisticated enough to, like, say, oh yeah, that's a CG shot, that's not, you know, they just are.
We hired a composer named Tyler Bates, who is incredibly talented.
Let's pull their dynamic back one notch, the violins.
He had a very clear musical point of view, and it was consistent with what we wanted.
His approach has been really based on just creating sort of discord and creating kind of an uneasy feeling.
I think music in horror films, first off, has to be about psychology and attitude. It has to open the door, these little compartments in your mind that make you uncomfortable. So you're vulnerable to reacting to what imagery you're taking in. It's a hybrid of elements. There are electronic elements, and there's an orchestral element, which I wouldn't necessarily say is classical. There's some composers that are kind of obscure, like Penderecki, who I love, who's just a master of dissonance. I would say the orchestral side has an influence of his, and electronically, this is as extreme as like the most extreme Aphex Twin type stuff, which is, you know, pretty much like organized noise. I'm a firm believer that melody is not welcome in the scarier moments, because as long as there's a melody singing to you, you feel a little bit safe. And what I've tried to do is to make you very, very uncomfortable. saying this as a fan. I am a fan of this movie. I'm a fan of this genre, so that I'm getting into it from that perspective.
Hey, that was cool, Pete. If we can just take one more of those.
We've always viewed this movie not just as a horror movie, but also as sort of a disaster movie, as an end-of-the-world movie.
I think that a lot of horror fans are always looking for something deeper. They're always looking for a message about the world they live in.
You know, you can look at the original Dawn, and I believe you're going to be able to look at the remake, and you can either lay back in your seat and let the movie wash over you without much work and have a great time on the roller coaster. But if you want to lean in a little bit, there's some other stuff going on that might stimulate some thinking, but you're not obligated.
George Romero, one of the great things about that film is its social comment, is the fact that George saw the coming of these sort of consumer temples, in some ways heralding the end of a more individualistic lifestyle. And in our movie, I think the difference is that battle has already been lost. I mean, the mall is now, everyone goes to the mall.
For me, the film is about what people can achieve if they work together. A major event happens that changes everyone's lives, and then we work together and we're able to conquer the catastrophe.
Dawn of the Dead sort of tunes into that in a way that is horrifying because it is the end of the world we're afraid of. And in other ways, a little bit comforting because it's something that we really know is not going to actually happen, which is dead people coming back to life and eating us. And I think it's that sort of play between the horror and the comfort of Dawn of the Dead that makes it such an interesting story.
Dawn of the Dead is either about the robot-like mentality that we all take towards our consumerism and our deepest desire to fight it off being represented by the 7 or 8 people stuck in the mall, or it is a really fun, scary take on the end of the world. One of those two. You decide.
I don't expect to ever have as much fun on a movie as I had on this movie. We got so lucky, the people that were involved. I mean, you a bunch of adults standing around figuring out the best way to jam a steak through someone's chin and have it come out the top of their head. And it was just like, that's great. That's fun.
The best thing for me would be that fans of the genre feel that we gave them a really good ride. That the people who are fans, who are truly people who respected and love George Romero's movie, will see it. And even if they have some qualms with the fact that we chose to remake the movie, will think to themselves that we did it with a certain amount of reverence.
There's going to be a slew of the fans who are going to sit there and say, okay, I dare you, let's see this thing, Hopefully we're going to surprise them.
For the people who don't know Romero's movie, it'd be great if they said, well, let's see the original. We can help create more awareness for the work that he did.
I try to be true to myself, because I feel like George was true to himself when he made his movie. And that's part of the quality of the movie that comes through, is that it didn't feel like the movie was being made for anyone. And I try to do the same thing. I said, okay, what kind of zombie rough stuff do I want? What kind of mass consumerism, what kind of fall of society, what do I want to see? And then I try to be as true to that as I could and let that be the thing that makes the movie unique.
How cool. We made a fun, kick-ass, bloody zombie movie.
My favorite part of the experience is being able to then sit in the movie theater for an hour and a half, 40 minutes, and gone on a journey with these cats. Seen them live and die and love and fucking fight zombies and believe it. The visceral reaction is that's real. That's what I think horror fans appreciate that.
Come on.
If you're a makeup effects artist and somebody comes and slaps the script for Dawn of the Dead on your desk, you're gonna kind of go, are you shitting me? Or are we really gonna do this? After I read that and got through the initial shock, I had a meeting with Zack Snyder, and he pretty much by himself acted out the whole script.
Action!
So I saw his whole take on everything, and it was given a 4-week window to create my test makeups, and we'd shoot them here in LA, and then we'd be off to start pre-production in Canada, and then 2 months later start shooting.
They really wanted my vision realized through their makeup, and I feel like they also added to it and like went vastly beyond what I thought was possible.
And my whole approach to the actual look of the zombies was making anything up. Day in and day out, we just based everything on reality. So we built up reference images of real victims and real time lapse of decomposition. And it made a lot of us pretty sick occasionally. But if you continue to do it every day, you become desensitized to it, and it became just another canvas, just another palette, just another set of colors. Where in fact, even now, it's been 6 months, I look back on that and kind of go, ugh. Basing it on reality, there's no room for censors. The fact is, it was all really disturbing. So I figured that was the filmmaker's job to either shoot it or not shoot it, or show it or suggest it. But if we delivered what we intended to deliver, which were realistic-looking zombies and horrific images, then it wasn't up to me to put it on camera. The burden was on them. My particular take on the actual look of the zombies was going to be broken down into 3 stages, and the first stage was the first act of the film, and the second stage is the second act, and the third final look of the zombies completes the film. You know, the first stage, the people that are in the beginning of the movie all kind of appear to be emergency room victims, or at least eligible to be seen in an emergency room.
The second you like come to, you're like a stage 1 zombie. That's with no decay, just the injury that caused you to become a zombie.
Stage 2 were those same people 1 to 2 weeks later. So all the color has come out of them, all the wounds have dried up and darkened, and all the blood and mess that happened when they were killed is now all dried up and flaky and black. Stage 3 zombie is basically everything is just falling off of them.
They have bits hanging off, and they're rotten, and they smell bad. They're just gross.
Their skin is drawn tight all around their facial features, and you accentuate those by adding appliances and getting certain high points in their face to really pop out. To do a stage 3 makeup based on our designs, it was a very complicated, usually over 2 hours, sometimes up to 4 hour long makeup with appliances and all these various applications on the skin.
This is what I always look like.
There was 4 months of prep getting ready for what would be these huge days.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
There was probably days when there was well over 300 in full-blown stage 3 zombie makeup. For the entire month of August, there was just this round-the-clock mill effect going on at our shop.
We had no problem getting extras. Everybody was like, yeah. Sometimes they'd come and they'd spend the whole night shooting, and they looked like they're having a good time. Even the people were like, they should never make this movie, but since they're making it, I really want to be a zombie.
We were painting people up and creating a factory where, you know, on a constant basis, we had to have zombies ready.
Just the volume alone is just, it's insane. But they were able to do that, and then also they were able to, when needed, get the detail of the individual zombies to be like, you know, spot on and awesome.
We had the zombie makeup room, we had the zombie makeup tent, and then we had the trailer trash zombies coming from our trailer camp. There was a crew of anywhere from 7 to 10 makeup artists who had 2 to 4 hours to complete what was called hero makeups. And the trailer zombies were complete with prosthetics and teeth and sometimes lenses. And then the makeup room zombies were paint job makeups only with no appliances. And at any given point, you could have up to 20 makeup artists and 10 hairstylists in that room processing extras to the tune of about 2 an hour. So we've got a lot of makeup artists coming in, and they don't have to bring anything. They just get their zombie kit. It's got their zombie palette in it, and all the colors are predetermined, and we give a little pep talk on what we want to emphasize that night, and then they come in and do it. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. We'd give them photographic references and say, you know, within these guidelines, within this face right here, go to town. So no bite here. He's had that traditionally. Just mess him up. Okay. Mangled, dead, dry. I'd have a line of 20 makeup artists with this customized palette in front of them. Some of them felt confined and some of them really excelled. The tents were where we would hand out the masks. There was 60 pullover masks, and there was close to 80 Halloween-type face masks that were all one-of-a-kind creations that we made in the shop. We made up our field of Stage 3 zombies with the best makeups of the day, followed by the best masks of the day. Behind them, another set of masks that were a little less elaborate, and then behind them, the masses of extras who were in relatively simplified makeup. You know, they're all dealt with, and they were all put through the makeup mill. But if they called for everybody on set, and we still had 15 or 20 people that were not processed at all, we'd still take them all to set. We put them in the back, and while they're rehearsing, we'd walk back there with Hudson sprayers and blood and goop and vomit and gore, and we just muck them up from about 3 feet away. And sometimes those makeups worked better at a distance because they were bolder. You just hit them with this massive amount of goo.
It was hot too, so you had some of these guys out there in the middle of the day in the parking lot, like just cooking under these giant latex masks they were wearing.
The extras up there in Canada were great about coming back and repeating their role despite the conditions. We were lucky to have a lot of dedicated folks.
Rolling and frame. 3, 2, 1, action.
Head, dead. You gotta shoot him in the head to finally put him out.
If I ever turn into one of those things, do me a favor, blow my fucking head off.
So there was a number of ways that you can do that as far as head hits go. Whether the camera's super close or wide, or whether it's a principal actor or just a background person, all these different variables play into it to help you make the decision on how you're gonna actually achieve it. There were quick and dirty ways of doing it, and the special effects men in Canada called them kabuki hits, and it was basically just an air mortar attached to the back of the neck with a chamber of blood in it.
And there's a tube that comes up like behind your head, and right here there's a nozzle that sprays straight out that way. And then the guy has a trigger. He hits a button, and then blood sprays out the back. And it works best when you're against a wall or a door.
Action! Now, Steve!
When you push the button, air comes flying through here, pushes everything out through this tube and all over the place.
The actors actually trigger it themselves remotely, or it can be also triggered by a remote control depending on what the actor's doing. Because a lot of times it's easier for them to hit the button and they know when they're going to react.
The ultra slime gives you that really gooey look, like the slime stuff. And this will give you like brain matter and a big splasher. So it looks cool. On my off days, I make margaritas.
Just move your head around and see if that's comfortable, if we're choking you or not when you lean forward at all.
No.
That's all right?
Good, yeah.
Okay, good.
Basically,
No,
Steve
probably
gets
from my
a
fingertips
jet
to the end of
pack,
the tube.
and he flies away.
And then I can go.
Out
See
of
what
the scene.
happens when you...
Yeah, he's the Boba Fett of zombies,
How's that?
exactly.
3, 2, 1.
That's freaky, huh?
The other challenge was for on-camera exit wounds. The traditional is the squib hit, which is a detonated device on the back of the head with a blood pack. The result is a little cap pops and the plug flies out of the head. Burt Reynolds, he's played by one of the stuntmen, and we put the squib hit on the back of his head. But you can only get so big with those because you can't put that large of a hit next to the person's head. So we needed to come up with a way to basically pull more of the head off with the hit. And we devised this ratchet system. This is one of the plates that we designed so that the ratchet system could be used. And a cable would be woven through there and attached to the brain. And the brain is a rigid plate that on action gets pulled by an air ratchet, and when it's pulled off, it activates those flaps. And there's all kinds of stringy stuff that attaches this to this. Blood bags and slime and threads and yarn and all kinds of stuff and the effect is horrifying.
It's an air ratchet driven by a dive bottle. Cable goes to the fixture on the head, and push of a button yanks it out at millisecond speeds.
We get our pick point nice and high, so we got a good trajectory and looks real. Great, good work. Now we're attaching our tagline to the prosthetic that's mounted to the top of the head. We're going to attach this to our ram line. We're going to fire our ram, which will pull this wire and rip the scalp off of our zombie, or have the appearances thereof.
1, 2, 3, bang!
Man, that's gross. Okay, play both again, please.
Oh, Jesus. That's like death. We got it?
Where he is right now is perfect.
Shake it, lots of biting. Action! And
oh, I saw chunks. Oh, meat shot.
The character of Andy meets his maker when he's shot point blank. It was a silicone head. The interior of the head was loaded with blood bags and sponges and goo, and everybody's behind screens and has got face masks on because it's going to be a pretty big explosion. 3, 2, 1, boom! And the thing just vaporizes. When you look at it in slow motion, everything just goes. The 2 eyeballs go flying across the room, and everything's just completely vaporized. And this whole wig thing clears frame just enough for them to use that piece, and then it falls back into frame. Darren Marsman is a stuntman in Canada. He played the maintenance man. And we had to create a very lifelike silicone head of him so that he could receive a mallet handle through the chin and out the top of his head.
Right through the head.
You know, when you make a life cast of somebody, you can only explain to them once what to do once they're under the alginate, and you hope that as a performer they can help you with the scene by adding something to it and helping you capture that look that's frozen in time and ultimately will be the selling point of the gag. So if it's a stupid expression, it's going to last a lifetime. And his life cast came out cleaner and nicer and more perfect and precise than any one I've ever taken or anyone that anybody in the shop had ever taken. So with Darren, that gag is so successful, and the blend between him and the fake head is so seamless because of what he did for us. We had him come back so many times and sit right next to the fake head while we painted and matched, and hair for hair and color for color.
You ready? Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
When they cut back to the actor, it's all one and the same when you see the scene put together. Usually when you do something like that, you kind of try and conceal it in a turn or a shadow or something swiping the lens or something, but he's just in all his glory there, and giant silicone fake head taking up the full screen and all lit and just look great.
Anytime, Darren. Action.
There was one stuntman by the name of Dave Campbell. The most obvious physical trait of his is he has no legs.
Action.
Dave Campbell's big scene was the garage zombie, and in fact, that was the first thing that he did do. The garage sequence is a big kind of turning point in the film. It's one of the first big scares once they're in the mall. The idea was that he was going to be coming down the pipes of the garage, hand over hand, with his, legless body kind of trailing behind. And then from the pipes, he'd be letting go and grabbing the cast member and taking him down and biting him. They harnessed him and cabled a little bit of weight off his back and actually led him around with that. So it created this kind of freakish speed.
When he let go, they pull him down and whoosh, he landed on Barton. Chewed on him like that.
classic example of how we were using people's physical attributes to create the character is the jogging zombie. He was missing his entire right arm from just above the elbow down. So we turned him into a freshly amputated fight victim. His makeup was relatively simple. It was a stage 1. It happens when the truck is coming into the mall. Whether it makes the final cut, I don't know. But he's one of the first examples in the script of a fast zombie, because you see him go from just kind of walking around, and then he spots our victims, and then he's doing 100 miles an hour.
Bloated Woman is not a woman. It's a guy, Ermis.
I think that Stoney, the stunt coordinator, thought he was going to have a hell of a difficult time finding a stunt woman who was big enough, who could play the part, because it involved a big fight scene. So they opted to go with a man and gave me the challenge of turning him into a woman. I think we probably had about 6 weeks to design and create and test, and then finally get him on set.
He has like a goatee, and he's like kind of tough looking guy in real life. He doesn't look like a woman at all. Thank God for him.
You know, you can make somebody look like something, but unless they turn it on from inside, it's nothing. And whether we made him look like a woman or not, he had to play a woman. You know, he had to be a woman. It came time to put the wig on him, and it looked horrible. So luckily we had a pretty good stockpile of wigs, and we started playing around with them, and we plopped this one on his head. It's kind of this scraggly, salt and peppery hair. As soon as we put it on him, the whole thing just completely came to life, and he knew it, and we knew it, and we were taking digital photos and showing them to Ermis. And as soon as he saw that it was something that he believed, this performance came out of Ermis that nobody knew was going to come out of him. And all his stunt friends were kind of ribbing him because he was so good at it.
Don't pick up my skirt. I'm looking straight into your good eye. Into my one good eye.
To transform her from healthy to dying was not an easy task because she was so beautiful. It was one of the principal characters who was in a zombie makeup that was not pre-designed in Photoshop. It was one of the characters that was shot in sequence, and we just let her evolve in her makeup day by day, just so long as one day was worse than the next.
I loved watching horror movies when I was a kid. I saw American horror movies translated in Russian, and they were still terrifying. I basically watched half of them with my eyes closed like this because I was so scared.
The character of Monica, we had to create a life-size, lifelike dummy of her because inside of the arcs, there's an accident and commotion, and a chainsaw kind of gets out of control and passes right through. We had to start off by taking a full life cast of her and recreating her whole figure with a silicone model. We had to be able to repeatedly shoot that scene. It was not a one-take deal. You couldn't put all this money into a dummy and then actually try and cut the dummy in half and hope that you get it in one. It had to be reloadable. The whole cut area is actually a cartridge that would fit down in there. And that cartridge was loaded with all the blood bags and goo and everything. After one take, after the chainsaw passes through it, that whole cartridge could come out and be replaced with a brand new one and touched up, and you could go for take 2.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled programming for a Channel 3 special report.
Good evening. I'm David Barrows. Jonathan Shaw is on assignment. We apologize for our earlier coverage of the so-called Madison race riots. Reports coming in now indicate the violence is neither racially motivated nor restricted to the greater Madison area. What is certain is that this seemingly unexplainable mass hysteria continues to spread throughout the heartland, with injuries reported to be in the thousands. We now go live to Catherine Lanphier at St. Augustine Memorial Hospital. Catherine?
David, the staff here says they haven't seen anything close to the sheer volume of casualties. Badly injured, very frightened people are pouring in, no exaggeration, by the hundreds. And we're told that most of the injuries are bites. not gunshot or stab wounds as we were led to believe earlier. Just a few minutes ago, we spoke with one of the doctors that has been on call since this morning when the patients arrived.
We have seen cases of complete digit finger extraction, deep throat laceration, even a large section of flesh torn away as if by a rabid dog or wild animal.
We've been told by nurses there have been complications.
Almost all wounds have shown immediate infection. Many have went into toxic shock. One patient...
Have there been fatalities?
Excuse me, please. I'm sorry, I have to go.
I was coming home from work, and I saw this woman in the road, and she was moaning or something, so I went out to go see. I thought she got hit by a car or something like that, and I went to go reach out to help her, and she bit me in the arm, scratched up my face, and I just took off. And
doctors are still at a loss as to the reason behind these attacks, and the situation doesn't seem to be improving. The past few minutes, I've seen 4 ambulances and several cars pull up with victims seeking emergency care. Whatever's going on, it seems to be far from over. David?
Thank you, Catherine. And speculation seems to surround the origin of this phenomenon. And theories include an airborne plague, a toxic chemical spill, bioterrorism, and even a spaceborne virus. And viewers should be advised that there is no official explanation as of yet. Teams from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Center for Disease Control, and Office of Emergency Preparedness have been dispatched to Chicago, Madison, and the Twin Cities. While martial law has not been declared, the governors of all 3 states are encouraging citizens to remain calm and stay at home for the present. We've had no official response from the White House, but it can be confirmed that the president is considering returning from his fishing trip at Jackson Hole. More on the situation as it develops.
The president wants to make it perfectly clear that this is not a case of bioterrorism. No such agents exist in the arsenal of any nation or known terrorist group. He also wants to stress the need for calm and the respect for law and order. The quicker people can get off the streets and into their homes, the quicker the appropriate federal and state agencies can reach these troubled areas. Although a further call-up of reservists is on the table, our current overseas military assets will remain in place to reassure our allies that this is a minor, containable situation that we expect to see fully resolved in 24 hours or less.
Again, that was Press Secretary William Kaplan with the first official statement from the White House a little over 30 minutes ago, stressing calm and what he assures us is a fully containable situation. I've just received word from my producers that a tape showing one of these random attacks has been dropped off at our studio. I'm being told that the tape contains graphic material and violence, and viewers should be advised.
No. I've done it a bunch of times, man. She's told me. Just look at that thing. Dude, she's hot. No, your turn. Both of us were. No, it's cool. All right, you know what? Both of us. Yeah. See, that's the spirit. There you go. Just walk up to her. Walk up to her. Come on, hit her on the head, knock her out. It's great or whatever, baby. Yes. Dude, look at those melons, man. Come on. Are you see that? Look at that. She is so hot. She's the hottest girl in school. There you go. There you go. Come on, man. Use some of those wrestling skills, baby. Yeah, that's it. That is awesome. Yes.
I'd like to apologize for the footage you just witnessed. I did not have the chance to previously view it, and I'm sure neither did my producers, or they would have never allowed material of such poor taste to be broadcast on this or any television show, especially a news report.
The human mouth is full of millions of germs, and most people don't practice good dental hygiene. So naturally, any bite is going to become infected, no matter from whom. These people don't have some sort of voodoo hoodoo disease.
Yes, but Dr. Collar,
Look, David, what you fail to realize is that most of these so-called experts are looking in the wrong direction. The problem is not chemical or biological, it's psychological. What we're witnessing here is the spontaneous combustion of a pent-up rage fueled by frustration over a pressurized society. It's the snapped postal worker on a national level.
Well, how can you explain that
Look, in my new book, USA Bomb.
Look, I'm sorry, we have to
this
cut
summer,
away right now. I'm just being informed that both Istanbul and New Delhi are reporting sporadic outbreaks of violence, similar to those here at home. And clearly, this is no longer an American... We're just getting a picture from our BBC correspondent. Over to Trevor Hanna in London. Trevor?
We're in Notting Hill, a part of London. Who knows if this report will ever be transmitted? Communication is at best limited. The city, it seems, is being overrun with man-eating creatures. And...
They're coming!
Run!
Like most stations, we're experiencing technical problems with our satellite connection, but we'll try and follow the situation and bring you up-to-date information from the other side of the globe as it comes. We now have word on the situation in New York. All bridges and tunnels to Manhattan are being destroyed, and a barrier of Coast Guard craft is taking up position around the island. We don't know, however, if this is to keep people from getting in or getting out. We should have footage from New York shortly. State and local authorities are urging communities to form clean and sweep teams. We'll now go live to Monroeville, just outside of Pittsburgh, where one of these sweeps is currently underway.
Danny, come on! Put another round on that woman over there. She's a twitcher. She's a twitcher. We get these twitchers. We shoot them, they go down, they keep moving. We can't tell if they're dead or not. Head, dead. We sure got a lot of them today. But you know what the bad part of all this is? I know some of these people. I know some of these people that we're putting down. Well, what are you gonna do? Has to be done. One of these guys was a real estate agent. He sold me my house. He was over there. I guess he's over there now. Anyway, that woman right there, I think I did her.
I can't reach Philadelphia.
The AP wire
This can't be right.
We have some startling information from Fran Parker, live at the Hammond County Medical Examiner's Office.
Fran, what I'm about to show you is one of the most horrific. Stand back, and I told you, please keep your distance. You can see how dangerous it is. No person has survived this disease. And I can assure you that every victim that has come into this hospital has turned out just like this. They have died on the table.
Okay.
What has happened though, is that they have actually come back from the dead.
So you're telling me this man has come back to life?
I know it sounds absolutely impossible, but what we're talking about here is reanimation, but of dead matter.
Look at this one that I was giving an autopsy to. During the whole autopsy, he never stopped moving. And I took out his heart and half his digestive tract. What I'm trying to tell you is...
Oh my God.
The dead are walking. That's all I can say.
Well, how are people supposed to protect themselves, Doctor?
This is the most contagious disease I've ever seen. What I would say, and I'm warning you, everybody, do not come in contact with any of these zombies.
And there you have it, David. The dead are alive, and there's no cure, and there's no explanation, and there's no nothing. Oh my God! David, cut away! Cut away!
Get away from him! Get away!
So they are dead.
Yes, in that the circulatory, respiratory, and other vital functions have terminated, these subjects are technically deceased.
Please just let me get through this and then I'll take questions. The infection is spread through direct fluidic contact. It must enter through the bloodstream through an open wound. Infection duration depends on the size of the wound and its proximity to a major blood vessel. Reanimation will occur no later than 1 to 5 minutes after the victim's primary life functions have expired. Once reanimation has occurred, the subject will respond with immediate homicidal aggression.
It's clearly it's clearly a shocking development unfolding. You're going to want to keep it locked in here. You stay with us all night.
Are we transmitting? Are we transmitting? Point the camera at me. Point it at me. Just roll. Okay, things are out of control down below. The city of Los Angeles is like a war zone. These creatures, these zombies or whatever the hell they are swarming the city. People are dying in the streets by the thousands. And the freeways, right now the freeways are hopelessly clogged. There is no way out of the city. We had to come up here into the Hollywood Hills just to find some refuge. I think we're safe for the moment, but I'm not going to stay long. Right now, the LAPD has pulled out of South Central Los Angeles entirely and is trying to form a defensive perimeter around Beverly Hills. But I don't know how they're going to stop these things. If you're hearing me, stay away from Los Angeles. The city is out of control. The city is lost. Avoid Los Angeles at all costs.
I'm sorry, we had to cut away. We need to go now live to the White House press room for an emergency military briefing.
A state of emergency has been declared in the United States of America, including all overseas dependencies and the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. For reasons yet to be determined, the bodies of the recently deceased are returning to life and attacking the living. The scope of this epidemic is now reaching global proportions. The President has sent to Congress a package of initiatives which will be explained by the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Martin Emery. Mr. Secretary.
As of 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the President has declared the continental United States under martial law. A nationwide curfew of 7 p.m. tonight has been put into effect, and any citizen caught outdoors between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. is subject to arrest and detention without counsel. All reserve military personnel and National Guard are ordered to report for immediate deployment. All law enforcement, firefighting, and emergency personnel will be federalized effective immediately. All communications facilities, including the use of landline and cellular telephone facilities, will be reserved for military and rescue operations. In order to halt the spread of this contagion, our nation's borders to Canada and Mexico have been sealed. No longer seek shelter in private residences, no matter how safely protected or well stocked. Retain all ownership records of private property, but do not attempt to transport or defend said property. Rest assured, looters will be prosecuted with deadly force, as will any attempts at vigilantism or secessionist political activity. No questions.
That was the Secretary of Defense with the announcement that the dead are somehow coming back to life. And I've got, do we have those rescue stations yet? Well, find them, please. I need those rescue stations. Fine. You know what? Fine. I'll get them.
Someone find the goddamn rescue stations now.
Current estimate in the U.S. puts the number of dead at over 10 million. But this is, many would consider, a wildly conservative estimate.
Anybody gonna check those numbers?
Regarding
Check the numbers.
the entire world, I can't even begin to give you a number. One bright spot to report, we now have a tape of what to do if you should find yourself assaulted by a reanimate. Can we roll that?
Now, 5, 4, 3, Kurt!
He's up!
1!
He's up!
Ladies and gentlemen, in the background, Brett will now demonstrate on an actual Romeo Lima Foxtrot both hard and soft points. Brett, go ahead.
If you're going to shoot him, if you shoot him in the leg, it'll slow him down. It'll bring him to his
Stay
knees
on him,
and go
guys.
right back up. You shoot him in the chest,
Easy, watch it, Brett,
that'll
watch it.
slow him down, but he'll still come back. There's only one place to deal with this monster. You shoot him in the head, right in the head, between the eyes. That's how you get him.
Watch it, Brett. Stay on him, guys. Stay on him.
What we're going to be doing is working on a female zombie. A little bit different. If I anticipate this right, she's going to be coming out. Give me a female! Okay, watch very carefully. Hey! She's down, coming. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Watch, guys. Everybody clear? All right. Some of you males may find this somewhat disconcerting to have to engage a female of the species. I did. It took a long time to get over it, but it's necessary. This is 3, mind you, multiple suspects coming from opposing directions. This is not fun. This is scary. You'll all go through it. Stay with me. Watch very carefully. Okay. Kurt, are you on? Yep. Fred, you on? Handlers, Tom? Standing by, sir. Okay, stand by. Cut him loose. Okay, bring it in, guys. Stay on him, stay on him. Watch, they're getting up. 3, 2, 1. Clear! Clear! Ladies and gentlemen, what you've just seen here is not pretty. I don't enjoy this. I don't think you will either, but it's a necessary evil, if you will. I don't know anything else to tell you about this.
Lucas, are we on? We're on.
Yeah, we're still on.
It's been confirmed from several sources that the destruction of Shanghai and Hong Kong were the result of thermonuclear explosions. Whether set by the Chinese government, a rogue faction of the Chinese military, or the Russian government in their promise to aggressively defend their borders is still not and may never be known. Within the next hour, we will be transferring responsibilities to the emergency broadcast system. We believe, although this has not yet been confirmed, that the President and his cabinet have already left Washington, D.C. for an undisclosed, secure location. We now have an audio, some would say, final audio message to the American people.
My fellow Americans, this republic faces a crisis like no other in its history. While the lights across this great land dim and the darkness of an uncertain future descends, let us not forget the words that led our country through another great challenge. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. We will endure, we will rebuild, we will drive away the night and warm our children in the dawn of a new day. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.
Honey, I'm coming home. Get the kids ready now. I'll be there soon.
Andy, turn it off, okay?
That's cute. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. I'm not.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we're recording, we're making history here. I gotta have a record of this for when I write the book. Okay, I'm driving home from Mustang Sally's last night, and there's like a police roadblock ahead, and I'm thinking, oh shit, man, I've had like 7 shooters, so I take a right on Birch. And God damn it! Sorry. Burglar alarm goes off every time they bang on the door. I had to turn it off. I don't think they'll get in. Door's solid, 2 kryptonite locks. It'll hold. So anyway, they like attacked the car. You know, they're trying to turn it over, and I ran over a couple of them. I felt one of their heads pop, and then the other started running after my truck, and damn, those fuckers can move. I gotta reinforce it. Okay. Perimeter secure. Both doors reinforced, windows too. Power's still on. Well, water too. I'm filling up everything I can just in case. Food. Hey, we can go 28 days without food, so I just gotta ration what I got left. Ariel's got food, right, baby? Gonna be all right? We're safe in here. Anybody want to crash this dinner party? They're gonna get some copper-coated candy for dessert, right? Be all right, baby. All right. Here's your update. Phone's not working. Neither is the cell. The internet's still okay. Who'd have thunk it, huh? Yeah, it's pretty hard to figure out what the hell's going on out there. I mean, everybody's saying something different. There's like voices from all over the world. The same on the shortwave, you know. Half of them sound like they're in Russian or something. There's the map of the world on the internet, and all over it are like these red spots, and they're growing. Some people are actually saying that these, you know, crazies out there, they're really dead. They're just like corpses up, walking around. Now, I know that's bullshit. I mean, I don't know what they are, but I know that's bullshit. So, we just gotta sit it out. Sit tight, be cool, right, baby? We'll be all right, we'll be all right. We just gotta wait. I hope. Yeah. Okay. It's hard to friggin' sleep with the damn moans. I mean, it's not scary. Seriously, it's just a pain in the ass. Yeah. I'd wear earplugs, but then I couldn't hear him if they break in. I think Ariel's a little freaked out. I'm gonna leave her light on. Oh, no, try again. Okay. I just tried an experiment. I lit up one of those fuckers, shot him right in the heart, right in the center mass, and nothing. Shot him 2 more times in the lungs, nothing. I gave him a full clip, cut off both legs, snapped his freaking spine. He's still crawling around like he don't even know anything happened to him. All right, so then I nail him in the head, and that's what put him down. That's how you smoke him. I mean, maybe these guys are dead, who cares? 1 round to the head turns him into a wet bag of shit. You know, I figure I got nothing to worry about. Check this out. There's like, all right, 200, say 250 of them out there, right? And I got like, 10,000 rounds of ammunition. It's like, well, you do the math. I think we're gonna be okay, baby girl. We're gonna be okay. Hey, we could take them all out if... Yeah. check this out. Okay, so, come here. Okay, sniping's out. I was up on the roof for like an hour. I must have loosed 200, no, more like 300 rounds. Every time you hit one of them, 2 more show up. It's like that Hobbit dragon thing, you know, where you cut off one head and 2 more grow back. It's an exercise in fertility. Wait a minute. About this. Come here. Okay? Check this out. Let's just see. Okay, so I tossed the fucking Molotov. Not good. And for one thing, it don't do shit. It just burns for a while and leaves them all grilled and smelling like Jimmy Dean, and now I'm really fucking hungry. I know, baby girl, I know. There's people in a mall across the street. And a chopper just flew over 10 minutes ago. Mwah! We're out of here, baby girl. I'm gonna get a bag for you. We are gonna get full on some good food. We're gonna see some good people. We're gonna be rescued, and it's all gonna be fine. Okay? I totally get why they didn't come today. I mean, there's friggin' thousands of them out there now, like shoulder to shoulder, like a Jethro Tull concert. So, I mean, if it's like that everywhere else, you know, it's gonna take them maybe a day, 2 to get here. I don't know. No problem. I mean, food's gone, but all I gotta do is stay hydrated. Human body burns like 100 calories a day. I weigh, you know, whatever. I mean, I'll be fine. I think. Kenneth, the black guy over in the mall, he just wrote me that Fort Pastor's gone. We're on our own. There's no help coming. Yeah, okay, no problem, you know? People have always put up with this shit, right? We survive. That's what we do. We survived the fucking Romans. We survived the Crusades. We survived the Black Plague. We survived fucking world wars. We survive everything, all right? And it's just nature's way of thinning us out, you know, leaving the best to survive and build a better world. And that's what's gonna happen now. I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna build your better world. Yeah, right. Okay. This is, we're out there playing Hollywood squares, right? I mean, there's all these dead fucks down there that totally look like famous people. You know, Jay Leno, George Clooney, Rosemary Clooney, oh, Burt Reynolds. I had to waste Burt Reynolds. And then there was this one guy, totally looked like Mr. Tomasini, my 10th grade gym teacher. I must have shot him like 50 times. There ain't nothing left of him except for his head sticking out of a puddle of red Jello. I mean, is this totally fucked up or what? But you know, it's kind of cool. I mean, because like I get to smoke all these people, but they're already dead, so I'm not really killing anyone. I mean, is that totally fucked up or what? God, I wish Susan was out there. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go there. But you know what? You know what, you bitch, you did. You took everything. I mean, you got the house, you got the cash, you left me with nothing. No, not nothing. I got her. Got my baby girl. Oh, she would have dropped her at her grandparents, right? I mean, she had to, please. She never wanted her anyway. And, you know, first sign of any shit, she'd drop her at the grandparents, right? Oh, God. First thing, when I'm done with this, I'm going up to the cabin, getting up on that lake. I'm not gonna forget you though, baby girl, my baby girl. You're my baby girl. I never forget you. I never leave you behind me. You're coming with me, okay? God. Oh, God, she's gotta be all right. Please. I don't need to hear this. Oh, hey. Hey, so where the fuck are they, huh? Huh? Where the fuck are they? You know, they started all this shit. They're fucking secret government labs, they're fucking government, fucking politicians and eggheads and all these fucking liars. They're all fucking liars. They're fucking liars, these fucking shitbag motherfucking cocksucking fucking liars. Yeah, well, you know what? It just means no more car payments, no more taxis, no more supermarket chowders. I'm gonna go shoot some more fucking dead people, okay? Excuse me. Okay. Oh, would you just tell me what you want? God damn it! No, okay, I'm sorry. No cussing, no cussing. I won't cuss. I won't drink. No more hashies. Whatever. You just tell me what you want. God, I know. You're trying to test me, aren't you? Well, I'll pass. Yeah, I'll pass. Huh? You trying to tell me something? Huh? You want another soul? You want some company up there with you? I mean, she'd be safe with you, right? So it's okay. It'd be good for me. It'd be good. It's the right thing, right? It's the right thing. Power's down about an hour ago. Running on battery power now. Gotta conserve it. All the lights are gone outside. Doesn't matter anyway. They're gonna try to break out. Finally getting out of here. I just told them to send a sandwich or a lobster or anything like that. I think my battery. Shit. Shit. The dog got through. Brought me a sandwich. Shit, but a couple of the dumb fucks got in with it. I should have been on my guard. Too hungry, I got slow.
Andy, can you hear me?
Hey.
Andy?
Hey, is this thing working? Is this working? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. They almost got me. I'm banged up pretty good, but I think I'm gonna be okay.
Where you hurt, Andy?
Yeah, those bastards bite hard. I just have to stop the bleeding. It's really growing. Hey, easy, boy. Hey, is this Kenneth? Is that you, man?
Yeah, it's me, brother.
Hey, it's good to hear your voice. I guess we're gonna meet up close pretty soon, huh? Hey, hang on. God, Jesus. They really got me good, man.
Now, you just hang in there. You got the food, right?
Yeah. Hey, this dog got a name? I'm not gonna tell him how bad it is. I mean, why worry him? I just gotta rest for a bit. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be all right. You hear that, baby girl? I'm gonna be all right. I just gotta rest for. Oh, she's beautiful, baby girl. What's her name?
Ariel, like the mermaid.
Oh, like the mermaid. That's right.
Happy birthday, Dad. I love you.
I love you too, baby girl.
What the fuck?
I wasn't actually a horror film before we made this movie, but...
You weren't a what?
A horror fan. Did I say horror film? I wasn't a horror film before we made this movie. And now I'm not a horror film, so this is strange. No, I wasn't a horror fan before the movie, but I've become more of one because it's just a creative, interesting movie, you know, and you realize that can be transcendent, you know, it can be really... If it's something's creative and people care about it and people are enjoying themselves, you want to watch it. We auditioned for each other's parts. The first day, we auditioned for each other's parts. I went in for his part and he went in for mine.
I went in right after him, and they said, "You're just too nice to play."
And they were like, "That guy before you was an asshole.
Was such a dick. We're gonna give him your part.
Yeah.
You can be the good guy."
Yeah, don't tell him. Which they told each of us. Don't tell the other guy.
Steve, don't fuck this up.
Yeah, totally.
The metaphor that's built in any good horror movie's got a metaphor working at its core, and you know they're in a mall, right? Bastion of consumerism, whatever you want to. I mean, however you want to like relate the apocalypse. You know, the world's gone mad. I mean, there are many things that you can look into if you want to, but basically, this movie is just a punk rock horror movie that's a lot of fun. But it also has a context that is satirical, political, topical. If you want to, that's cafeteria style. You take it or leave it. It's not. We're not being told what to think. We're not being told that this is a big, important movie about important things. But there are some serious elements to it. If you want to look into those.
I think that's the thing that draws anybody into a metaphor. You know, any of the great films or novels or anything. If you're going to come away with something that resonates, it has to be first and foremost compelling. You know, it has to be. You have to. If it's a painting, you know, you have to want to look at it. You have to, anything. It has to actually draw you in. And I think that's what's great about the film is that the metaphor isn't heavy-handed at all. In fact, it's less heavy-handed than the original. But it's compelling. It's really creative and interesting and colorful and stylish and funny. You know, it's these things that make you want to watch. And then yeah, there is a metaphor, but it's not the other way around, which to me is just really, really hard to swallow.
One thing that Zach said early on, this is the director, he said, "I want to make a movie that none of the kids are going to call bullshit on." And they would go, "Oh, they'll never go in there. They would never do that. I don't believe these people. They're like, you know." And so he made a movie that isn't sentimental, that doesn't have like a love story, that is just a big punk rock horror movie, that has a metaphor working at its core, but it's first and foremost just a blast and a good time. But it's a serious movie. It's a sneaky movie in the way that it's serious. It's very well made. It's very well crafted. It has a lot of great humor. Has like a rockin' soundtrack. But it's something that because kids don't. I mean, no one wants to be preached at, and no one wants to be told, you know, what to believe and what to think, and how to react to something. And I think he's done a really good job of holding up to that promise that this is a movie that doesn't have any fat, preachy bullshit in it.
To me, I understand the metaphor is what's usually brought up about, you know, that they're a little bit more politically minded than sort of like slasher films. If that's the genre you're sort of comparing and contrasting against or whatever. But to me, they're more interesting. I mean, it's a little bit more shallow, but I just think they're more interesting, and that's just my personal opinion. The slasher films, I don't really know them, admittedly, that well, but they seem just sort of limited in their scope. And this genre is much more fun, and it's also, it has the ability, which I don't completely understand, but it has the ability to be much deeper and resonate on a sort of some sort of level of angst. But it also has the ability to be hilariously funny and have you laughing at things that you're not really sure you should be laughing at. And in a way that I don't think other sort of parts of the genre maybe do. So I don't know if that's why they're coming back or not, but it's certainly why I'm more interested in them.
There's a man going around taking names, and he decides who to free and who to blame.
To me, that whole sequence was an opportunity for the filmmaker and for the producers, or just basically the vision of the film, to include the globe. Just, this is what's happening around the world. I'm actually, trying to assume what that scandal might be about, but I don't know what that would be. To me, there's no real agenda there.
There have been times in the 20th century when the world has gone mad. It went mad in the 40s, late 30s. It went mad in Bosnia. It went mad. Some people could say the world went mad on September 11th. I think that there are really terrible things that are going on in the Muslim world right now. Some of it are perpetuated by our country. Some of them are perpetuated by Muslim countries. And I think to get overly sensitive to the fact that there is terrible things happening over there is ignoring the reality that there are places in the world where things go crazy and there's violence and there's madness. And I think that is just pointing out that, that happens to be the hotbed right now. I don't think it was I don't know if it was, and I don't even know if it was such a conscious decision. I think we just wanted to show that there's mayhem and madness and violence and brutality and insanity in the world today. And this is a movie that takes that a little bit further.
I thought it was unbelievably difficult to watch.
But that's just, you gotta push the envelope in this kind of a movie. The horror stuff, you gotta reimagine that, and you gotta do some wild stuff with it. That's what people come to see a horror movie for, is for somebody taking something that is outrageous and pushing the envelope with it. And it's an intense scene, and it's really terrifying, but it's also funny because it's a little baby. But she's a zombie baby, so she has to be killed. It's twisted and sick and wrong in so many ways, but a good zombie movie has to hit those notes. And you have to have imagination and a sense of humor to do it. And I think that's what that scene is about. It's outrageous.
I think that tone is throughout the film. There's all of these weird little things and it's also a testament to Zach's chops. There's a laugh at the end of that scene.
Yeah.
You really can't believe you're laughing at the end of that scene, and that is a steady hand.
Hard.
That is a steady hand.
And he probably had to fight for it. I don't know. The studio was great. For everything I've heard, they were amazing, and they were totally on board with everything. And let him do his job and encouraged him and everything. But I'm sure that a couple people were like, did we step over the line?
Yeah.
But you got to in this kind of movie.
And that's why it feels sort of rock and roll. The whole thing feels sort of rock and roll because of those scenes.
Dirty, twisted, sick, all wrong.
It's all the little things to me. It's like the stunts in this movie are so ungraceful and un-Hollywood in the best possible way. When she falls into the bathtub and when she falls out of the window, they're so graceless.
It looks like someone's getting hurt.
Yeah. And the truck backing up over those people. There's just little things.
It ain't Troy. It ain't balletic fight sequences of...
Yeah.
He wanted everybody to look real in the movie, so he didn't cast any film stars, which is why you're talking to us. He cast people who look like regular people.
I don't look like a regular person.
Mekhi Phifer doesn't look like a regular person. You look like a regular person.
Holy shit. You got him.
And he also wanted the acting to be very real and very naturalistic and very believable, so that you could then take the leap of faith that this is actually happening, which means you can also buy into the metaphor that the world has gone mad.
Die.